I'm sorry, I want to do one more quick exercise, and then we'll get to the other part of the workshop here. Because Stella was saying, my initial thought on this image is that it's harvest time, and they're looking for someone to blame. The luxury has been taken, and someone must pay. They'll wait for the master to arrive and decide the fate of such, but one will pay for sure. When you're describing your setting, there are a lot of words that can really, really help with this. And part of that is music. The same image here with this music what does this express? Yeah, like exactly, Manchita. We might as well have a killer in Dead by Daylight just off screen, watching the survivors around the campfire. Now, how about this? Ah! Hi. So I hope that was a fun little exercise where the same setting, can be described in different ways with different effects. And that can indicate time, place, and mood. Because the weather and the climate all play into it. Also, you can't see me because the cat has decided to block me on camera. But I promise I'm still here, everyone. Hello, hello. Can I have my channel back, ma'am? Please? Ma'am? I know I love you very much, but come on, I need to see. Please. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at cat feet, all right? I know you are in the perfect spot to be exactly in the way, and you weren't on my desk until I was just ready to broadcast, too. What a coincidence. All right, so you all can see here, this was the piece of paper that we used last Saturday. We scattered some beans. Oh, well, thank you. We scattered some beans and rice on the map. And we used that to make our coastline, some of our borders. Ma'am, you're really... Well, she's adding authenticity to our map by crinkling it. Hey, don't eat the map! Oh, what are you doing? Get out of here. Look at what What? What? Alright, well, I wanted authenticity. Thank you for the crinkle, but apparently our map has some real life edge wear and tear. Look at this. She just stepped up and took a rip out of this thing. What? What are you doing? Why are you eating the map? What is going on? Do you not get enough food or love? Why are you such a brat? My goodness, gosh. Yeah, that's not a cat, that's a goat, right, Yelwyn? Oh my gosh. It's a map to her homeland. Alright, well, as you can see, we scattered beans on a piece of paper. We made a volcano with a D20 that was located up here. And now what I want to do, we're not going to work so much directly with this map, but I want to make sure that this is loaded up as a concept that we're going to work from in our workshop. Yeah, Yulwin. Player characters are not the same as creatures, so if you use what's in the Dungeon Master's Guide to advance monsters, it might make your subclass really powerful in comparison. But I did go through the DMG and I brought that up. You might want to refer more to the effects you get from Enlarge and Reduce. Otherwise, you're going to have to do some math about averaging your damage per round within different sizes, because going, like, adding extra dice like that can be very powerful. Why did it reset my... I just wanted to drag a window across and it reset my desktop. What the heck? Let's get this back. I'll blame the cat, because the cat is, she's not bapping the mouse, but she's very close to it, so I have very limited use of it right now. Alright, so we have our setting concept. Rip Artist! Oh! Stella, thank you for the gift to Rip Artist. Remember, all those subscriptions will add up on the third Wednesday of this month when I'm giving out boxes. The more of you that subscribe, the more boxes I can give out. Alright, now we're going to go through an exercise to make a settlement. On the map that we had, that is now a lot more authentic because the cat ripped into it. We can use this exercise for a town, a city, a county, a state, a country. We can scale it as much or as little as we want. Uh-oh. Rip Artist got nuked by the bot. Bristle Bandit? Hey, no, it's fine to offer that sentiment. Yep, for some it might still for a couple minutes still be Veterans Day, or in Canada, Remembrance Day. Oh, there we go. The cat has lost interest and left. Now, for the type of story that we are going to write, why don't we develop where this magic school is? Because it is obvious that a good portion of this adventure will be taking place in and around the this Bardic College. Now, mechanically, it's a Bardic College. We can call it whatever we want. We can call it Wizard School. We can call it, you know, Xavier's Institute for Gifted Youngsters. Whatever we want to call it, all right? In D&D terms, because we're keeping this D&D, we're going to call it a Bard College. Or Magic School. And we're going to use this because, remember, we're going to start small. We're going to start with that tree on a hill somewhere. And then we're going to zoom out and we're going to incorporate other aspects of this country, which is going to be the main adventuring environment. And if any of you want to spend your inspiration points to lock in one of these aspects, you may certainly do so and roll for that specifically. So, first off, we're going to start with terrain types, and if you're playing along at home, I want you to open up your player's handbook. And the reason why I want you to open up your player's handbook is because there are mechanically to the game, though we can extrapolate elements of this in a narrative where everything is in our control. There are 8 mechanical regions in D&D that give druids and rangers particular advantages. If you wanted to add to this list and say urban or underwater or something like that, you can, and you can find some revised lists of that in other places or supplements. So what I like to do, and your method could be only one biome or many, I want to find the 2 types of terrain. I want at least a crossover between 2 biomes, 2 environments. Because in our descriptive text, that is going to allow us a greater pool of adjectives with which we may sprinkle into what we're describing. And as there are eight different places here, I want to roll a D8 Bristle Bandit. Will you please type exclamation point 1D8 into chat? Outside of our main town, a mining camp run by goblins from the tavern. Well, if you want to use that as inspiration, we might very well have something along those lines. Or, I mean, if not the magic school itself, this is probably... It'd be like us coming up with a settlement for Columbus, Ohio, where there's the Ohio State University, which is a bigger city that contains the school, or Athens, Ohio, which contains Ohio University, which is a lot smaller and more rural of a town that still has an advanced university in it. It looks like we lost Bristle Bandit. Dark Druid Productions, will you please give me a 1d8 roll in chat? Exclamation point 1d8. I will be bringing back role-playing to the channel probably in the coming year, Miller. I will have announcements about that when I can. 8. Swamp. Okay. Now, what is another terrain type that this establishment, maybe the town around the university or the school? I need another region, and let's have Stella. Stella asks this. Stella, will you please type exclamation point 1d8 in chat? That's fine, Bristle. Thank you for letting me know. Lands on an 8. It's super swampy. All right, let's try another biome. Stella, can I get an exclamation point 2d8? And the first non-8 number will be the one that we accept. It's a super swamp. A 7. Mountain and swamp. All right, Osric. I can call on you shortly. We're gonna head back. We're gonna head back to the Dungeon Master's Guide. And Miller wanted to lock in the type of government that is running this town. What's the feel of it, at least? And so, Miller, I need a percentile roll in chat, please. Exclamation point 1d100. Lands on a 64. It is a militocracy. You know, we were just talking about ROTC, R-O-T-C, as a way for high schoolers to train to get into the military and get some credits towards becoming an officer. Military leaders run the nation, or in this case, the academy or the town surrounding it, under martial law using the army and other armed forces. A militocracy might be based on an elite group of soldiers. It writes itself because who's our main villain? Our main villain is a very zealous paladin who is out to become the master of the order and she's going to do that by exterminating all the Fae. A militocracy might be based on an elite group of soldiers, an order of dragon riders, or a league of sea princes. Solamnia, a nation ruled by knights in the Dragonlance campaign setting, falls into this category. That would be a real-life example, Miller. All right, now, what are a couple notable specific points on campus or around town? This is something that all of us can think about. I'm sure if you think about your town, your county, your state, or your country, or an equivalent thereof, like a province or something, right? You can come up with 3 things that make your town your town. Even if it's the park, the library, and the high school. Because maybe your town just really has a focus on that. Or it's Old Man McGillicuddy's haunted house on the hill on the outskirts of town. Some bronze statue to a pioneer founder. And the brand new lithium battery factory that just moved in. There's still 3 things that make the town, the city, the county, blah, 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 the region distinct. And I want to focus on that. You can go with more if you wish. I am going to recommend every place that you want to make as a setting should have at least 3 notable traits. Okay? So let's roll. The first monument or something here. The Goblin Black Market that secretly supports the Resistance, says Dark Druid. And you've summoned Awe the Store Ghost with that. Osric, I need you to give me a 1d20 roll. And Freestyle, I will call on you next after we get this first bit of information. Yeah, so there you go for the local farmers co-op, the hospital, and the canyons. Osric gives us a 3. Faces carved into a mountainside or cliff. All right. This automatically opens up so many questions. Who carved them? Are they decorative or religious, or do they serve a civil purpose, a defensive purpose, a magical purpose? This alone... Is this like the faces of the Hokage in Naruto? You know? Where the powerful people of the school are, emblazoned forevermore? Freestyle, I need you to roll a d20, please. Stella says, if you don't mind, I have a suggestion. When you next find yourself running a module, let the chat be all the storekeepers. You interpret the voice, but read what they say. I was doing that, Stella, for the 4-year-long campaign that I ran here. I would read chat, and I would incorporate elements of chat and people in chat into the story. Yeah, faces of the ancient founders of the school. Freestyle rolls a 2. There is a plundered burial mound or pyramid. And Freestyle, can you roll a 1d12 in chat to clarify? If it's an odd number, it is a burial mound. If it's an even number, it's a pyramid. Even number. There is a plundered pyramid. Dark Druid is apparently having a very strong it writes itself moment here. Iwi. Some channels have OWOs, some have UWOs. Here we have Iwis, for it stands for it writes itself. I never want you all to stress about story writing, campaign planning, or anything. You don't have to. With the things that we do, if this serves as at least an inspiration, if not just a step-by-step guide, I hope you're going to find the creative process can really flow and it works. Welcome back, Manchita. Punishment for doing so is by rolling a 1d20 and giving us our weird locale. Yeah, well, so they would have to be regulars, and I would know that they were around, Stella. And unfortunately, that's a lot easier said than done. Like, it's a great idea, don't get me wrong, but guaranteeing that is difficult. And also, Chelsea Bell, welcome to the Hero Zone. Thank you for joining us. In fact, Chelsea, if you're going to hang out, I could use your help in determining this setting. Manchita rolls a 4. There's a boulder carved with talking faces. Well then. I believe we have a very strong motif, and the story is definitely writing itself. So these are just faces carved into a mountainside or cliff. One of them, or a separate one, actually will speak. Now, the speaking could be the wind blows through it, and it might be like wind chimes, or it somehow like has a harmonica inside, and it'll like sing a song, or it's magical, or possessed by spirits, or whatever else. It could just be the face of an ancient stone golem. Its body was destroyed in a war or something, and it's just always been there. It could have been something that was a part of the pyramid. Like how the Sphinx had the nose fall off or whatever. What if it was a monument for the pyramid, and when it was plundered, the head of a statue rolled off or was blasted or something, and it's just been there? We have like an Olmec that challenges the kids of the school to go through the temple, to the silver monkey, etc. Like the Easter Island head in Night at the museum. Oh yeah, yeah. There you go. And Chelsea, yeah. So thank you. I hope you want to participate in this. Thank you for giving us a chance. You saw some weird rando here in the D&D section. You decided to click in and give us a shot. And I would love your help in continuing to build this setting out. All right, now we are going to go to a couple other roles here. When it comes to the demographics of this place, you can have as many as you want. I'm going to put in at least 2. We're in a fantasy setting. We know we have different races of different background, just heritages and everything. And I would like to know, primarily, what is at least the city around this academy comprised of? And for this, Chelsea, will you please give me a 1d9 roll in chat by typing exclamation point 1d9. No spaces, just exclamation point number 1, letter D as in doggo, number 9. Efro Rob says, back, I bricked hard in the top 4, but ended up either getting 3rd or 4th. All right, you might not have brought home the gold, but you know what, Rob? I really, that is great news. And here, fist bump, and it's going to explode on 3, 2, 1. Good job. And Rob, I can call on you to help us with this too if you have a moment. Chelsea says halflings are one component here. So let's fill this in. Halflings. And Rob, I need you to also give me a 1d9 roll in chat. Exclamation point 1d9. Actually, I should have made it a... I mean, you can roll that, but if it was a 1d8, because we can eliminate halflings. Rolled a 3, and elves. All right. Now, we can roll the subtypes if we want, if there's a large enough distinguishing features between them. We did roll that we had a wood elf. There might be others. Drow might exist. Or, hey, if you're playing D&D, don't be afraid to not have high elves or drow or wood elves. or whatever. Just because it's in the player's handbook or a supplement doesn't mean you have to play with it. Dorlan, a once high-ranking officer disgraced by ambiguous underlings, reduced to commanding a city police force, hence the constable. And yes, by the way, when you're narrating, the words you use should be, you're using them deliberately. And so the word constable here is indicative of things that might be overt and covert to the reader or the audience. Yeah, it could be sea elves, Mancheetah. Right now, let's just keep it halflings and elves, and we can go from there. Now, how well do they get along with each other? Let's have... who else is hanging out here? Rip Artist, will you give me a 1d20 roll in chat, please? And if there's anyone else, there's 34 of you out there. If you're lurking, that's fine, you can lurk. But I'd love your help in continuing this exercise. Radagast, I don't know if you're out there, but howdy to you, by the way. So Radagast, anyone else who hasn't rolled yet, let me know. Bell the Cat, if you're out there. Camp Custom, if you're hanging out. Rip Artist gives us a 3. They live in harmony. All right. Radagast, I need to know the ruler's status of this place. This might be like the headmaster of the school or the mayor of the town, or maybe they're one and the same. So now it's Comp Custom Designs. All right, Radagast, I need a 1d20 roll from you. And then Camp, I will call on you for the next roll, so hang in there. Stops on a 16. Oh, interesting. The racial majority have actually been conquerors. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. That was race relations. Although it's interesting to think that the halflings came in. That might be why there's a militocracy. 16 is on deathbed. Claimants compete for power. All right. Things are getting spicy in this, where the adults are going to be vying for control. The adults are vying for control, and the villain wants control of the organization. Dun, dun, dun. It writes itself, everyone. Also, you can say hi to the cat, or at least one of them. I haven't seen the other one. I think he's being lazy somewhere. All right, what is a notable trait about this place? Camp Custom Designs, I need you to roll 1d20 in chat for me. Exclamation point, 1d20. If you want to roll for the Calamity, it's a workshop roll. You use your inspiration channel points for it, Dark Druid. So just redeem a workshop roll and indicate Calamity. Let's see, it stops on a 20. It is built atop ancient ruins. This might explain the faces and the plundered pyramid. All right, I need someone else to roll for what this place is known for. Bristle Bandit? All right, Bristle Bandit, 1d20 in chat. Exclamation point, 1d20. And you're going to tell me, apparently besides this college, this Bardic College, what is this place known for? 19, strong drink. I wonder if that has something to do with its location. Maybe there's something that grows in the swamps. There's almost like a maybe like a marshmallow liqueur, or there's a special fantasy plant that doesn't exist in real life, or I don't know, you make something like a mountain mint, and that can actually be brewed into something powerful. Or I don't know. Let's lean into it. We have a lot of excellent prompts that we can jumble around in our noggins and come up with some really neat custom ideas for our fantasy setting. Oh, is Hatter here? Yeah, Hatter, bards are here for the hype. Hatter, I will need your help in a moment. If you can stick around, I'm going to need your help making our setting. Now, Dark Druid Productions wanted to roll. There is besides the fact that there is a background vying for power, we need to know what the current calamity, the very overt calamity is. You rolled a 14. There is a prophecy of doom? Heck yes. Is this a curse for being built upon ruins? Is this something that was linked to the plundering of the pyramid? Is this something that... why? What's going on here? The awakening of the talking head could be something. All right, now we don't have a name for it yet, and that's fine. Many places might have multiple churches, temples, whatever, wayside shrines. In your town, I'm sure you could think of at least several different religious institutions. What you can do here, or at least with this prompt, what we're looking for is perhaps the most prominent one that will be featured in the narrative. It doesn't mean others can't exist. Now, this could be very monotheistic. There's only one faith and everyone goes to the one temple. That could be the case. I don't want the fact that we're only rolling for one religious building to indicate that. This is simply the religious building that is going to play a part in the narrative. In a campaign, this is where the adventurers might go for clues or a conflict or something. But let's find out what it is. This is GPS. This is where I live, says Stella. Is there anyone out there that has not yet rolled? Hatter is going to help us with this. And if there's anyone else, there's a couple more dice rolls up ahead. Hatter, I need a 1d20 roll in chat. Exclamation point, 1d20. The goblins believe it is just some grand joke of some kind. Lands on a 17. A library dedicated to religious study. Our school is a religious, a religious militocracy order. It writes itself, everyone. A library dedicated to religious study. All right, now you can spend the points if you want to lock it in, Miller. Wasn't elderberry wine a thing in Forgotten Realms and the trees grew around a marsh? By Liam's Hold. So if that's something, we could have something about cranberries, elderberries, other fruits and vegetables that would grow in around various estuaries, deltas, swamps and marshes, bogs, like a peat bog or something like that. Well, Lemmy says I already redeemed. Oh, no. All right. Well, then, Miller, I need a 2d20 roll. You shouldn't be limited like that. I wonder what's going on. And so, similar for the tavern, this is not the only tavern in town. This is simply one that is going to play more of a role in the story than others. Let's see, 15 and 16, we have the Lonely Eagle. Oh, the Lonely Eagle? Now, if you want to talk about some direct or indirect storytelling, taverns have names for reasons. It could have just been that whoever founded this place loved eagles, and it just sounded cool. It could be that there used to be an eagle that hung out here all the time. A giant eagle, a normal one, or whatever. There could be something with history, religion, mythology. It could just be culturally important to have an eagle as a symbol. So we have the Lonely Eagle as our tavern. This could be something that, it may not be a tavern or a place where the kids can go. Like whatever the main, like, it's the cafe on campus or something. But if we establish a place called the Lonely Eagle, that can prompt a lot of questions from our audience as to, all right, why is it called that? And that could be part of the story. That could be some exposition from a knowledgeable person. That could be found out when studying and looking at notes for things, however you want to present it. But simply having a tavern called the Lonely Eagle itself is indicative of a lot of history or culture that is taking place in your setting. It was the original roosting spot of a giant eagle who lost its mate, flew there, and chose to die. So yeah, it could be something very sad. It could be something that if you want to set up, it was called the Lonely Eagle, you're like, oh, there's an empty nest, and you want an eagle feather to end up being a MacGuffin or a Chekhov's gun. If you're not familiar with those terms, you can look them up, what a MacGuffin is or what Chekhov's gun is. But it could end up being that this place is, what they come back to because it has a particular item or power or something that's been there the whole time that will help them, win the day. And what is the style? All right, Rob. Hey, thank you for reporting back in on your Pokemon tournament. Congrats to you for it. And you know what? Always next tournament, right? And so we need one more roll here. So Dark Druid, will you please roll a 1d20? Rolls a 1. It is a quiet, low-key bar, or an equivalent, depending on... Remember, we're approaching this from the point of view that this is a young adult novel. Now, how prominent... people have different tolerances for, alcohol or tobacco or, the presence of whatever more mature themes in that style of book, depending on the context. So, when we say a bar, it could be a bar... It could be the Angel Grove juice bar, whatever, those extra details will come. We have the prompt. We have the core idea. All right, Stella, thank you for hanging out and participating with us and doing some storytelling. I'm glad that you made it back. There is actually an option for that, Miller. A Thieves Guild hangout, or a gathering place for a secret society. Now, when we do this again also, not everything has to be random if you don't want it to be. If you're making a story in a setting on your own, you can just choose options off of a table, add extra ones, or roll again. In this case, let's roll with what we roll, but I never want you to feel like you have to stick with random rolls. You can just determine what exists in your world. That's absolutely fine. All right, now that we know... Oh, the cat. Come on, cat. Now that we know that we have a mountain and a swamp that can be part of the setting, or that is primarily the regions around the place, you can see that we didn't put rivers or lakes. we have the sea on the outside here. So there is water here, and we do see that we have mountains here and here. I think that this is going to take place on this in the primary country and not the outlying countries. So let's keep the volcano out on the horizon. With the concept of a swamp, it's a very wet place all the time. And there are some subtle differences between swamps, bogs, marshes, wetlands, Everglades, estuaries, deltas. That could mean if we are in a river delta or a floodplain along a river. You know how the Nile would flood and it would like make everything fertile and then it would recede and they could grow, etc. The rule in the books are just guidelines. Exactly, Miller. Yep. Okay, Dark Druid. Yep, be right back when you are back. Wanting to keep a mountain somewhere close by. And then we have some somewhat not a singular mountain per se, but maybe some hilly terrain and there's like a peak to it. So this could be very hilly. Hatter. Well, Hatter, you've prompted me to discuss what that upgrade is about. I want to grow the channel into getting a laptop and a couple extra cameras so that I can do more mobile broadcasts like I did from the retailer convention, or I could set things up on our Warhammer table to do some board games. Because I think you and others pointed out that the desk setup in the current broadcast area is not sufficient. Especially if I want to show off maybe some war games or board games or the like. And so I slowly want to start getting the extra equipment so that it is ready and in place for when I can start doing those streams. And so it's one thing at a time, one camera at a time. And I know what showed up there is simply one number, but that is a huge step towards allowing me to record even more things in more ways and present more fun and interactivity with you all. So Hatter, thank you very much, because that is one of a couple cameras that I need to start getting a remote setup where I can travel. I can post and edit from the laptop, and I can set up several webcams with it so that we can do board game instruction and board game nights, wargaming stuff. So, Hatter, I'm trying to be humble about it. There's always a need for hype, but I don't want you to overstretch things for yourself, my dude. Because ultimately, I think there's going to be 3 cams that we're going to need, and at least 1 microphone for the peripherals, and then I need to start concentrating on the other parts of the system. But I don't want to, if I put it all out there, it might seem like either too big of an ask from me, or I'm asking just way too much and it feels unreachable and it can discourage people. So I try and keep it small and humble and focus on one little thing at a time. But I'll tell you what, Hatter, for that and the fact that you did redeem some workshop dice rolls, I want you to tell me, where should we place this this Bardic College, which is like a magic school that we've made so far. We need to keep in mind that we want it to be swampy and have mountains somewhere. And the swamp could be a river delta going out to sea. It could be somewhere along a river that floods. It could just be a basin by a mountain. But, Hatter, I would like you to tell me, no random dice rolls needed, Whereabouts do you want this magic academy to be? What is giving you the bard hype? And then we will fill in the details, but let's get it next to a mountainous area, and then we can provide the water one way or the other with lakes, a swamp, or a river. Above the T and E of your mark. Above the T. Oh, northeast. Okay, so somewhere up here. Do you want it really close to the sea, like this is a river delta or a swamp? Or like, do you want to have a river come down from here and it seasonally floods or something? Maddie, you're amazing, and you really do deserve more hype. Just like you are with your business, but up front with us about it, I'm sure we'll understand and help. I hope so, Miller. I have big plans and big dreams, but I don't want those to seem overwhelming or at worst greedy. Because y'all don't understand how much I think about that sort of stuff. Like, I don't know, like that dude, he broadcasts and he's solid, but I don't know if he's that solid. Or he asks for so much all the time. Low, let's make it lakeside. Daly says the Greta Bardic Institute of Higher Charismatic Learning. So how about something finger length to my point above the middle? You want it like nestled in right here, Hatter? So maybe there's a lot of glacial melt and stuff that keeps the lands kind of flooded. So it's almost like a swamp lake, and then it drains out to sea eventually. But this is where the town and the wizard school is, the magic school. Or do you want it further down? Or wait, finger length to my point above it in the middle, because you said northeast of the T. Okay, I meant literally northeast of the star. Center above inches of that. Northeast of the star. Oh, in the T here. In the T here. Pardon. Alright, we can work with this. How about... Alright, how about this then, Hatter? If we have an active volcano up here, what if at one point in time this was an active volcano? Could always be again. A little bit of magical shenanigans. What if there's a big caldera here filled with water from all the snow melt and everything, and so it has become like overgrown. Like there's plants and stuff. It's kind of been worn down, and so this is filled with water. It's kind of swampy, and then the academy is up here in the caldera of an extinct volcano. Give you a roll? Hey, GM's Perspective. Good to see you. All right, Hatter. One moment. I will roll. It's very rare that I get to roll in my own channel. All right. I rolled a 2. Is that pass or fail? I don't know if you're doing odds or evens, high or low. what it was, Hatter, but you interpret that roll. Roll is fail, so you land on the base of the range. Okay. Well, then, do you want to put it at the star? And then we just have this land here be flooded in between the melt-off and the runoff of the two mountains? And so actually this ends up being the academy and the city around it. It's just in a very wet environment because of all the runoff and the melt-off. Oh, well, bring us into your adventure if you don't mind, GM. Well, hey, Miller, it seems that it was meant to be, and the dice favored this arrangement. No. Oh, Northeast Range, pick the point. Oh, okay, all right. So we're still going northeast. So we're talking about something more up here, but at the base of the mountains. Okay. I'll make a little mark there. Yeah, so it'll sit like in the basin at the bottom of the mountain range. And there's going to be plenty of water there. In fact, we could probably do something cool because you see the wind blows in this direction. We could have something. Remember, we rolled. Pardon me. We rolled that there's a bunch of faces carved in a bunch of faces carved into the mountain. What if the faces act like gargoyles do on old medieval buildings and cathedrals? Can you imagine this? Every time it rains, all of those faces are actually spouts to try and get the water from absolutely wrecking and flooding the valley. So every time it rains, the faces just have these fountains of water that spew in other directions to try and spray it. And it makes like a gurgling rush or a distinctive hiss or mist or something along those lines. Remember, when we're writing to describe, we have unlimited fantasy capital with which to design the world. Let's make it cool. We already know that there's faces carved into a mountainside or cliff. The faces are there for a reason. Are they there for a practical reason? Are they there for a mystical reason? Or something in between? How are those faces seen or used? Interesting. So now we have more of an idea for our settlement, for our school. We have been able to further. By the way, we can now go back into our relationship map. Hi, Diadems, good to see you. We can go back into our relationship map, and doing this can help us add whole new connections, whole new circles and arrows. I'm not going to do that as part of this exercise, but you see how we can. Because our villain may very well actually be the one who's trying to be the headmistress of this tactical religious military order. And the kids are caught up in things. And maybe the mentor is actually someone who wanted, someone who's vying for it as well, and is using the kids to try and overthrow her main rival. Look, she's a nature cleric. You better believe she can control water and things like that. Now you might go, well, Tempest. I get it. Tempest is for sure, but Tempests are also an extension of nature. And I think that we have something as well. If this is a bardic college, we're talking about singing or instrumentation, the faces can sing through the water, through the wind that blows through them, through percussion or other such things. And so we are making a completely cohesive environment. All of the characters, because the environment is built around them, are also very much a part of this place, of this world. And if we open the big cam back up, even our exchange student, our sheepling, who is more from the desert area over here, in between the mountains, this is still close enough just over here to have ended up here for some reason. And Dark Druid, if we want to incorporate things like mining, look, it would have taken masonry and mining to make the faces. Of course, there's also the ruins that this place was built upon. In fact, the ruins could be sunken in the swamp. You know, like the old Monty Python shtick about building the castle in the swamp. The faces are not just faces. Part of the prophecy translates loosely that they are sleeping gods, and when awakened, will take back the waking world. And if that doesn't raise the tension of the story, raise the stakes, especially for a plucky young group of teens to want to step up and ultimately save the world, I think that absolutely does it. This is definitely going to allow for our aquatic dwarf. The mining comes into the fact that we have a smithy, someone who's familiar with metal, and maybe not mining, but metals. The companion to an extent for being on the receiving end of such things. Everything here works and is connected. Step by step. It's all we're making our disparate circles. That's not a very good well, anyway. And then we are connecting them. We're connecting them in layers to a central point. Right here. Oh, it's coming together in the old noggin. Oh. All this is big brain energy. What is in the community pool? Krantis, the community pool is like a give a penny, take a penny to help people get prize capsules that contain miniatures, unpainted minis, dice sets, all sorts of things, depending on the type of capsule you end up getting. And all the capsules and other prizes through the channel include free shipping to a U.S. address. Though if you live outside the U.S., you would be responsible for the international shipping to get it out to you. But the community pool is a way for the community to give back to itself and allow people an opportunity to get more prizes sent out to them, as that's a way that the channel does help promote the digital content we make here, as we are primarily a workshop channel in the kind of under the D&D umbrella of Twitch. And so we support that by teaching the hobbies, mini painting. We do the random dice rolls up here, so it's good to get dice in your all's hands so you can do this sort of stuff at home. There's all kinds of other inspirational things that go out to help support what we do and who we are. As ultimately, the Hero Zone is an online extension of a brick and mortar, physical, friendly local game store in Ohio.